Greeting everyone, I'm Kevin, and today I'm going to tell you all about the 5-star books of January 2021. January has been a very good reading month for me. I have, as of yesterday, read over 20 books in 26 days, which is insane, but I'm not surprised. And you can check out my video from Tuesday, I will link it up there, to know how and why I read over 20 books in just a month. And in January I only rated 2 books 3 stars. That is the lowest rating all of January, which is insane to me that I read over 20 books and have only given 2 3 stars. The rest of the books, 18 books, are either 4 stars or 5 stars, which is insane to me. Like, wow. I had a very good reading month, and I hope the rest of the 2021 books will stick to this, because it's a great start. But without further ado, the first book I read that I rated 5 stars is The Grinch, or in Swedish, Grinchen, julen är stulen by Dr. Seuss. I love this title because it rhymes, which really fits the way that Dr. Seuss writes. If you're not aware, Dr. Seuss writes children's novels in verse with rhymes, so it's kind of poetic and kind of like a song. So it's very nice, and I love The Grinch because, one, nostalgia. It's the best Christmas movie out there, like, honestly. The second thing is I relate to The Grinch a lot, which is insane, but I completely relate to The Grinch, and it's just such a fun read. I love it. So yeah, 5 stars. The next 5 star is The Hana Wars by Adiba Jagadar. I should also say that I read this for my TBRC, which is my TBR game for January. So I picked this for the prompt romance. And this is the story of, I don't remember their names. So this is the story of Nishat and Flavia, 2 girls, and they have rivaling henna shops, which Nishat isn't very happy about because cultural appropriation, though, that it's hennas are part of her culture. Nishat's culture, she is Bengali, so from Bangladesh, lives in Ireland. This is set in Ireland, I just wanted to point that out. But Flavia felt like, oh, but it's art, so I can do it, like, it's not that big a deal. Really enjoyed both the romance aspect, but also where is the line drawn between what is okay and what is not okay, that has to do with things that are tied to a specific culture. And I loved that aspect to it, that whole discussion, and I felt this was a great book. 5 out of 5 would recommend, 5 stars obviously. The next book I read is also because of my TBR game, TBRC, and the prompt was aliens, and I picked Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and I loved this. I loved this so much. I read it in one day, and immediately after I was like, I can't wait, so I read the second book too. So I read both of these books and I rated both 5 stars. So if you don't know what this book or this series is about, this girl here called Aurora, or Ori, she prefers to be called Ori. She has been in cryosleep for 200 years, and she is found by Tyler, who is set to become a captain of a squad, but because he saved her from the cryopod, he came in late, and so he ended up with the bottom of the barrel. So an amazing squad, like, they are so great, and I love the whole inclusivity of it. Some of the main characters are aliens, and the women are absolutely gorgeous. I would say, like, it's rare to see books and movies, this is not a movie obviously, but stories that feature women, strong women, empowering women, and have them be comfortable in their sexuality and comfortable in their bodies, wear a lot of makeup, wear high heels, girly clothes, and still be badass. A lot of like fictional stories they don't do that. Like if a girl has revealing clothes, then she's a slut. But I liked how this treated the female characters, that they were just allowed to be themselves and no one batted an eye at it. And I thought that was phenomenal. And I love, what is his name? This is so frustrating. He's like my favorite character and I don't even remember his name. I do know that a lot of people who loves this series loves him, because of course they should. They absolutely should. It is Finian. I absolutely adore Finian. He deserves the world. He is just, there are no words for him. Like, he is amazing, absolutely incredible, completely relatable. He's just phenomenal. I say a lot of words that ends in "l." I'm sorry about that, I guess. But I absolutely love him, and I love Scarlett, and I love, what is her name? That's the only downside to having a book with a lot of main characters. I think there's like 6 main characters. It's that you easily confuse them or you forget their names when you haven't looked at the book for a while. You still remember the story, you still remember them, you just don't remember their names. But her name is Sila, and she didn't say a lot in this book. When it was her POV, there was maybe a line, it wasn't that much. But in this book, I loved Sila. She was just amazing and also relatable. Like, in this book, I completely fell in love with Sila. I fell in love with Finian in the first book, but Sila is everything. She is so amazing that I don't have words to describe her. She's just, there's this line that she, in her POV, is like written multiple times, and it's, "I am not feeling nothing." And that line, when you've read the series, it's so impactful. At least to me, it got me emotional, okay? But yeah, I absolutely adore this series. Can't wait for the next book in the series. I also want to mention that I in no way, shape or form condone Jay Kristoff and his behavior when it comes to indigenous people, indigenous cultures, and the way he treated Mina, and basically calling her a bad thing on Twitter. Like, let's just say that. And I don't condone it, and it was something that got me thinking, should I continue the series? Should I read Illuminae? I just decided that these books aren't just written by Jay Kristoff, they're also written by Amy Kaufman, and I don't want her to suffer from writing with him. So I decided that I'm gonna continue reading the series, but I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I will never buy a book that is only by Jay Kristoff. And I don't think that after this series and after the Illuminae files, I don't think I'm going to buy another Jay Kristoff book. But I just wanted to clarify that. The next book is another book chosen by TBRC for the prompt graphic novel. I chose Illegal by Owen Colfer. I finally figured out how to pronounce its name, which is also said in the absolute back, which I didn't realize when I did the other videos, when I pronounced his name as Eowyn, but it's Owen, it's pronounced Owen. So Owen Colfer, Andrew Duncan, and illustrated by Giovanni Regano. This is a phenomenal story. I made a complete video giving 10 reasons why you should read it. I will link it up there. And this is just such a beautiful story about a boy with hopes and dreams of coming to Europe. And he and his brother, among other people, set out on a journey to cross both the Sahara Desert and the ocean between Northern Africa and Italy. And it's a very powerful book, and it's great. I mean, it's on this list of the 5-star books of 2021 so far, January. So obviously it's great. But if you want more reasons or if you want to know more about it, just click on the little card up there. Then we have Kim Ji-young, born 1982. This is a translate book from Korea. So it is originally written by Cho Nam-ju and it was translated by Jamie Chang. So this book follows Kim Ji-young as she grows up in South Korea and the sexism and misogyny that is the society where she grew up. I can't speak anything for what it's like to live in Korea. I've never set foot in Korea, so I don't know that much more than watching K-dramas, let's be real. So I can't speak on that, but this book was very, very good. I think it did a great job at discussing the whole like social commentary on the way we treat, on the way society treats women, the division between if you're born a girl or if you're born a boy. It's just a great book and it got me thinking a lot, and I really loved that we followed her from early childhood until she was married and after marriage and so on. I really enjoyed this. Next on this list is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. And this is just a beautiful story inside and out. Like, obviously it's gorgeous. And Under the Dust Jacket, it's also incredibly, like, so beautiful. This is the first novel in verse that I've ever read, and it did take me a while to get into the style of it. But when I did, it just flew by. Like, I just, woof. You know, like I read this in a very short amount of time and it was just so beautiful I couldn't put it down. I just wanted to know more, and even though it's written in verse, I believe that for me at least the different narrative voices of the two girls were distinctive and I didn't have to like second guess, oh, is this her or is this her? I never had to do that. I just knew who was narrating. And I thought that was brilliantly done, and I have some recommendations from Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe of more novels in verse that I'm going to check out, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. The last book on this list is We Didn't Ask for This by Adi Al-Said. This is kind of like with Clap When You Land. It took me a while to get into it because there were a lot of characters, a lot of things happening, but this was a very important story because it has to do with protesting for climate change. And there's this kind of thing that an organization wants to do which will further damage the oceans. And so a girl chains herself to the school in protest, and she says that I'm not going to open the school unless you do these things. So she gave a list of things that if the school did these things, they would help the environment. It was just a beautiful, I think it's a powerful and important story, and I think this is something that a lot of people should read. I do understand if it takes a while to get into it, because there are a lot of characters we follow, there are a lot of things happening, but I think it's important to read. So that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you do, and please let me know what books have you rated 5 stars this month, or which books do you think you will rate 5 stars. Good reading! Bye!